So the data collection process. Now, once you have an understanding of what is the research methodology of choice in your research design, now you know which population you are interested in. So once you have an understanding of the general idea of the research design and methodology, now you can start thinking in terms of, okay, what is the phenomenon that I am interested in? What is the problem that I feel drawn to? Is it student performance? Is it engagement? Is it curriculum? Is it teacher burnout? What is it that some problems that you might be interested in? And then in that big problem, there might be a very specific uh, purpose you have where to reduce burnout among teachers. And so you develop a question, a research question as it relates to that. And what that does means is that you're going to get very specific in terms of what is the outcome variable and what is the predictive variable that you're going to be looking at. So what effect does tenure have on teacher burnout? Oh, is burnout related to location or is burnout related to gender? So those are the things. This is the way you develop. So now that you have that, you have to determine, are those variables quantitative variables in terms of the outcome, or is it qualitative, right? So what is the overall question that you're asking? Is this a why question to understand meaning, or this is a question to ask how much or to what extent? And so when you have established that, now you have the research phenomenon. In this case, the factors causing English as a foreign language students' low performance in reading, right? And so you want to explore what are these factors involved, and then you hone in on the fact that maybe storytelling can have a positive effect, and you want to research that question, that issue. And so now you realize that you have the variables in question: reading proficiency among EFL learners, and the use of short stories. Now, how are you going to measure the reading proficiency? Is it going to be a test, or is it going to be the students' response about how they feel about reading, their reading proficiency? So these are some of the things you keep in mind, and this is going to determine the choice, the methodology of how you collect your data, right? So you can either use data that already exists, whether that's in an archive or on the internet or from the LMS, right? So that would be secondary data. If you're going to collect the data yourself, then that's primary data. So are you going to use an interview or a focus group? Those would be the qualitative type of data collection. If you are doing an experiment, then you're going to have to set up the control group versus the experimental group relative to the variable that you want to test. And so these are the different types of statistical analysis. And I won't go into details in any of them because this is what we will be covering in the live classes, right? But when it comes to statistics, there are two main groups: the descriptive statistic and the inferential statistic, right? And so when we think about the process, remember, this is identifying the problem, deciding on your research question, choosing the design and the methodology, whether it's a quantitative or a qualitative. What kind of question are you